Beijing is gripped by political tension, a palpable unease that hangs over the city like a thick fog. The streets are alive with whispers and speculation, as citizens and officials alike brace for what might come next. The Communist Party is on the brink of its fourth plenum, a critical meeting that could shape the future of the nation. Delegates from across the country are converging, each carrying the weight of their region's hopes and fears. In a shocking move, 9 top generals, including the influential leaders of the PLA rocket force, China's nuclear command, have been abruptly purged. This sudden action has sent shockwaves through the military ranks, leaving many to wonder about the stability of the armed forces. This is a dramatic, public signal from Xi Jinping, not a quiet retirement. It is a bold statement of power, a clear message that no one is untouchable, and that loyalty is paramount. The official reason given is disciplinary violations, a vague term that leaves much to the imagination. However, insiders suggest the real story is a crisis of trust at the heart of Xi's regime, a regime that is increasingly paranoid and insular. The timing of these purges, just before the plenum, suggests a sense of urgency and perhaps paranoia at the top. It indicates a leadership that is both fearful and determined to consolidate power at any cost. Xi is demanding absolute loyalty from those who control China's most powerful weapons. The message is clear. Any hint of dissent or disloyalty will not be tolerated, especially from those with the power to challenge his authority. For Taiwan and the world, this turmoil raises urgent questions. Is Xi losing control, or is he tightening his grip in preparation for a future conflict? The international community watches with bated breath, aware that the implications of these actions could be far-reaching. The ghosts of the purged generals will haunt the party's decisions in the coming weeks. Their absence leaves a void that will be felt in the corridors of power, a reminder of the fragility of loyalty in a regime built on fear. The fate of the region may hinge on the motives behind this ruthless power play. As tensions simmer, the world waits to see whether this is a prelude to peace or a harbinger of conflict. The fourth plenum is where China's top leaders set the nation's course for the next 5 years. This meeting will finalize the new 5-year plan, dictating economic and security priorities, including Taiwan. Xi Jinping's vision of national rejuvenation puts reunification with Taiwan at the center. Observers are watching for any shift in language or resources aimed at accelerating unification. Xi, having broken precedent for a third term, must now show results, especially on Taiwan. The military purge and the plenum are linked. Xi wants a loyal, reliable military to match his ambitions. If the new plan signals a tougher stance on Taiwan, only the most trusted commanders will be left to execute it. The plenum sets the strategy. The purge ensures the military will follow orders without hesitation. The stakes for Taiwan and the world have never been higher. Tensions over Taiwan are shaped by 3 powerful and very different leaders: Donald Trump, Xi Jinping, and Lai Ching-te. Each brings a unique vision, strategy, and set of ambitions to the table, making the situation more complex and unpredictable than ever before. Trump's America first approach is famously unpredictable. Sometimes he voices strong support for Taiwan, promising to stand by the island's democracy, while at other times he questions its strategic value, leaving allies and adversaries alike guessing about America's true intentions. His rhetoric can shift rapidly, and his willingness to challenge China directly has both reassured and alarmed Taiwan's leaders. This uncertainty forces Taiwan's President Lai to prepare for the worst-case scenarios. He has ramped up military readiness, invested in advanced defense systems, and worked tirelessly to strengthen international partnerships, especially with the United States and other democracies in the region. Lai knows that Taiwan's survival may depend on its ability to deter aggression and rally global support at a moment's notice. Lai asserts Taiwan's sovereignty with careful words and actions, always mindful not to cross Beijing's red lines. He walks a diplomatic tightrope, hoping that a strong defense and clear resolve will deter conflict, while also seeking dialogue to keep the peace. His leadership is defined by a delicate balance between strength and restraint. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping's stance has hardened in recent years. He calls Taiwan's fate a historic mission for China, promising a one country, two systems model of autonomy, but never renouncing the use of force. Under Xi, China's military has grown more assertive, and the rhetoric about reunification has become more urgent and uncompromising. The brutal crackdown on Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement has destroyed trust in Beijing's promises of autonomy. For many in Taiwan, Hong Kong's fate is a warning, a glimpse of what could happen if Beijing's vision prevails. Trump's ambiguity on Taiwan may embolden Xi to test the limits, while Lai faces mounting pressure at home and abroad to defend Taiwan's democracy and way of life. The stakes are higher than ever, and every word, every gesture, is scrutinized for hidden meaning. At the same time, Xi is grappling with economic troubles at home, slowing growth, rising unemployment, and growing public frustration. Some analysts warn that a bold move on Taiwan could be used to rally nationalist support and distract from domestic challenges, raising the risk of miscalculation. Each leader is playing a high-stakes game of strategy and brinkmanship, reading signals, testing resolve, and trying to anticipate the other's next moves. The Taiwan Strait has become a geopolitical chessboard, where every decision could tip the balance toward peace or conflict. In this tense environment, a single miscalculation, a misunderstood signal, an accidental clash, could trigger a disaster with global consequences. The world holds its breath, knowing that the margin for error is razor thin. The fate of the Taiwan Strait, and perhaps the future of the region, now hinges on the choices and gambles of these three men. Their decisions in the coming months and years will shape not only Taiwan's destiny, but the balance of power in Asia and beyond. The world watches anxiously, hoping for restraint, wisdom, and above all, peace, in a region where the stakes could not be higher. The purge of 9 senior PLA generals is a seismic event. These were Xi's own appointees, leading China's nuclear, space, and cyber forces. Removing the architects of China's modern military in one sweep signals deep problems at the core. Billions spent on modernization may have fueled corruption, not just new weapons. The purge exposes a paradox. Xi is tightening control, but also revealing vulnerabilities. Is the PLA as capable as it appears, or is it hollowed out by graft? For a leader contemplating action on Taiwan, doubts about military reliability are now front and center. The message to the officer corps is clear: absolute obedience, or else. China's military might looks formidable, but its true strength is now in question. The purge is about more than corruption, it's about loyalty. In China's military, corruption is seen as both a crime and a betrayal of the party. Kickbacks and faulty equipment can cripple combat readiness, threatening national security. The Equipment Development Department, gatekeeper of billions, is at the heart of the scandal. Xi's anti-corruption drive is relentless, but it's also a tool to enforce political loyalty. In Xi's China, allegiance is owed to the party, and to him personally. Any hint of wavering is treated as a grave threat. This climate of fear may silence dissent, but it also risks creating a brittle, less effective force. Officers may hide problems, fearing accusations of disloyalty. Xi may get obedience, but at the cost of honest feedback and real capability. The PLA's loyalty is unquestioned, but its effectiveness is now uncertain. The Taiwan conflict is also a battle over history. Beijing uses anniversaries to claim Taiwan as an inseparable part of China, citing events like the 1945 Retrocession Day. This narrative ignores Taiwan's unique history, including decades of Japanese rule and its own path to democracy. For many Taiwanese, the arrival of the ROC in 1945 marked new authoritarianism, not liberation. Taiwan's leaders now highlight milestones of democracy, drawing a sharp contrast with China's authoritarianism. Competing historical stories shape public opinion and international perceptions. Beijing's version justifies unification. Taiwan's asserts its right to self-determination. As tensions rise, these narratives become powerful tools in the struggle for the island's future. China's economic engine is sputtering: property crisis, record youth unemployment, and weak growth. The party's promise of prosperity is under threat, fueling anxiety at home. Xi may turn to nationalism and the Taiwan issue to rally support and distract from economic woes. A slowing economy also strains the military budget, making future buildups harder to justify. Xi could see a closing window to act on Taiwan before resources dwindle. Internationally, a struggling China looks less stable and more unpredictable. For Taiwan, a weaker China could be less threatening, but also more desperate and dangerous. Economic troubles now directly impact regional security. The Indo-Pacific's future may depend as much on China's economy as its military. The stakes are global. The Taiwan Strait's future is shaped by hope and fear on all sides. This narrow stretch of water, just 130 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, has become one of the world's most closely watched flashpoints. Here, geography and history collide, and the fate of millions hangs in the balance. For Taiwan's 23 million people, the threat of invasion is real, but so is their resolve to defend democracy. Daily life continues, but beneath the surface, there's a constant awareness of the risks. From school children learning about freedom to volunteers training in civil defense, the island's spirit is defined by resilience and a deep commitment to self-determination. Beijing frames the issue as national destiny, determined to prevent independence at any cost. For China's leaders, reunification is a core part of their national identity, and they see Taiwan as an inseparable part of their country. This belief is echoed in official speeches, media, and the daily lives of many on the mainland. The military buildup is meant to make this threat credible. China's armed forces conduct frequent drills, showcasing new technology and growing strength. Each display is a message to Taiwan, to the world, and to their own people that Beijing is prepared to act if pushed. The US faces a dilemma: defend Taiwan and risk war, or step back and risk global credibility. American policymakers weigh the costs of intervention against the dangers of inaction, knowing that their choices could reshape the balance of power in Asia and beyond. The hope is to deter China without provoking conflict, maintaining a fragile peace. Diplomats work tirelessly behind the scenes, searching for common ground, while military planners prepare for the worst. Every word, every gesture, is carefully calculated to avoid miscalculation. But these hopes are fundamentally at odds. Each side's vision for the future is shaped by history, pride, and fear. The people of Taiwan and China watch events unfold with a mix of anxiety and determination, knowing that their lives could be changed in an instant. Each side's moves to secure its future risk triggering the very war they fear. Military maneuvers, political statements, and even economic sanctions can escalate tensions, making miscalculation ever more likely. The margin for error is razor thin. The region is a powder keg, with every action watched and weighed. Intelligence agencies, journalists, and analysts around the world monitor the strait, searching for signs of escalation or hope for de-escalation. The world's hopes and anxieties are focused on the narrow strait between China and Taiwan. The outcome here will not only affect those who live on its shores, but could send shockwaves across the globe, impacting economies, alliances, and the very idea of international order. The outcome will shape the 21st century. In this place where history, ambition, and fear converge, the choices made today will echo for generations to come. The road ahead is perilous for China, Taiwan, and the US Xi's purge and the fourth plenum signal a push for total control and readiness for confrontation. Is this a prelude to invasion, or a long-term strategy of coercion? Only Xi knows. Taiwan must strengthen its defenses, economy, and global partnerships, while avoiding provocation. The US and allies must deter aggression, support Taiwan, and keep diplomatic channels open. Trump's return adds uncertainty. Regional allies are watching for American resolve. The risk of conflict is higher than in decades. The next few years will test the wisdom and restraint of all leaders. The world is watching, hoping for peace, but bracing for the consequences if it fails.